Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal was with us today, and she says that the Progressive Caucus would like to see $2,000 a month, every month, until this crisis is over, going to American families. Check it out, leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. I was just watching Speaker Pelosi on the floor of the House talking about how, what a crisis time we are. She had her 80th birthday yesterday. She's just indefatigable. She's an extraordinary person and representative. I'm curious your thoughts on this moment in history, on what we're all going through, what the crisis and the challenges that you're facing, and then we'll toss it to our callers for questions for you.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Well, just on Speaker Pelosi for a minute, she really is extraordinary. We have differences, as you know, and I'm always pushing hard, and she recognizes I'm always pushing hard to go, further, bigger, bolder. But she is extraordinary, and we would not have these three packages without her leadership. Here's the thing. I'm here in Seattle, and we some of us tried to get on planes yesterday to get to D.C. The planes were canceled, so luckily it will be likely a voice vote, and they won't need our votes. Otherwise, we'll have to try to find a way to get to D.C. to vote on the bill. But there is going to be almost unanimous support for the bill in the House. It was unanimous in the Senate. And the reason is because this will be a desperately needed boost for people across the country who are suffering. Here in Seattle, yesterday we reached 147 deaths. We are at an extraordinary number of unemployment claims across the country that have been filed, millions of unemployment claims, the most unemployment claims ever in the history. And we have this epidemic, this pandemic raging, killing people, putting enormous strain on our hospitals, our frontline health workers, as well as all of, I call them first responders, the people that are keeping our grocery stores going, the people that are keeping our buses and public transit going. There's still a group of workers that have to be out there working, even as we have stay home, stay healthy orders. So this package is doing several excellent things, which are in there because we pushed very hard for them. Democrats did. The initial bill that was introduced by Republicans in the Senate by Mitch McConnell was a non-starter. And we put a lot of good things in there, which I will go through. But it also has things that we don't like, including $500 billion in money for industry assistance that essentially Mnuchin will have the vast majority of control over. We did manage to get some oversight in there, but that is sort of another slush fund for Steve Mnuchin, and that's nothing that any of us want. The rest of the bill, however, $1.5 trillion, we feel like we have done some phenomenal things. We have this will move forward the biggest expansion of unemployment insurance in decades. So we will enhance unemployment with federal benefits of $600 a week so that the average laid-off worker is going to receive 100% of their paycheck in benefits. And it also gets rid of all the waiting periods and extends the number of weeks that federally funded unemployment insurance will actually be available. It also creates a new program for gig workers, temporary workers, to be able to apply, people who didn't typically qualify. And it expands work-sharing programs, which my co-chair, Mark Pocan, who I know is on your show regularly, has been such a champion of, which allows people to stay on payroll, right? Because at the end of the day, we would rather have people stay on payroll than have to file for unemployment and then have to reapply for a job. It also has a big component of direct payments. We, the Congressional Progressive Caucus, had put out a set of principles, 12 things. In our direct payment, we were calling for $2,000 in direct assistance per month, plus $1,000 per child per month for up to 6 months, renewable for another 6 months. This is a one-time payment. It's $1,200 in direct assistance and $500 per child. There is an income cap and a phase out above a certain amount of money, but it will at least provide, it's insufficient, but it will at least provide something immediately. And then we can go through some of these other things, small business grants and aid, and this is for nonprofits and small businesses. This is really, really important, and it is $350 billion in loan forgiveness grants if those small businesses keep their payrolls, their healthcare benefits. They can also use it to pay rent, utilities, all of those things. That is going to be very important, as well as another $10 billion in small business emergency grants. And then there's a whole bunch of money, $150 billion, but not nearly enough as I look at what's happening here in Washington State to our healthcare system. This is $150 billion for our healthcare system. We also have a significant plus up of money for community health centers and frontline providers. And we actually increase the amount that is in the National Emergency Stockpile, which you and I have spoken so much about what happens when the federal government disinvests in everything, in state government, but also in things like the Strategic National Stockpile. We essentially reverse that here, and hopefully it's not too late. One of the big areas that we did get into the airline buybacks, into the airline assistance in particular, is trying to make the industry assistance worker-centered. So rather than a corporate bailout, we want any money that's going to go to these industries to go to payroll, to go to benefits, to keeping people on those payrolls, and also to prohibiting a lot of the things that we saw in 2008 that corporations did, which was, things like putting the money to stock buybacks or dividends, increasing executive compensation, those kinds of things. There are some very good provisions on the airline package, thanks to Pete DeFazio, who was one of the original co-founders of the Congressional Progressive Caucus and is the chair of the Transportation Committee now. They're not nearly as strong as we want, and they don't necessarily apply to the rest of that big Mnuchin slush fund. So there's a lot of good things in here, but I would say that there are some places where we were not able to get things that we wanted, and I'm particularly concerned about the immigrants that are excluded from any kinds of benefits.